Hi everyone, Tori here with another scrapbooking process video. This one is called Bloom and Grow. I'm going to be using the Odyssey kit from Studio Calico, which is the March kit. And I'm going to be using a ton of stuff from my stash, like a ton. And it will be sort of a mixed media project extraordinaire. It's a little crazy of a layout. It took me a couple hours to do. But I really do love the way that it turned out, even though the final project isn't what I had thought I was going to be doing. So I'm just showing you some of the things that I had started off planning on using. I had this yellow diagonal stripe paper from the Odyssey kit that I really wanted to use. I also had a little tiny, I think it's about a 1/4 inch strip of another piece of paper that had numbers on it. And I'm also going to be using a ton of my rub-ons on this kit. And the thing with rub-ons is they don't last forever, so you have to use them. So I'm going to be using a whole ton of them and a bunch of mixed media stuff over top of them because some of them didn't go on perfectly. But I didn't care if they went on perfectly because I already had a plan to go over them. But you'll see that as I go along here. I'm going to speed this up a lot just because it did take me a really long time to do this process, but I'll explain it as I go, so hopefully you'll understand. What I'm doing is I decided that I wanted to use gold, pink, and yellow rub-ons. So I'm just going through all the different packs of rub-ons that I have and just cutting out the pieces that I wanted to use. And I do cut it out with the backing on there because I haven't decided yet where I want everything to go, and I don't want any of the rub-ons to stick down into place. I didn't want them at first. So another thing you're seeing me do, which I just want to explain why I'm doing it, is I staple the backing of the rub-on packaging to the rub-ons because if they touch anything, they get ruined. So I stick them down with the stapler just to attach the rub-ons. And then what I'm doing now is I'm just using like a bone folder to just quickly rub all those down. Now you're going to have to forgive me, my camera here shakes a lot and I'm really sorry about that, but I am using a different tripod because somebody borrowed my setup for something else, and so it shakes a lot, so I'm really sorry, but I'm speeding it up, so hopefully it's not that bad. And I really just was overlapping all of the rub-ons. I just wanted a giant cluster of rub-ons on the right hand side of the page. And this is at 20 times the speed, so it did take me a lot longer than this. Once I had put down all the rub-ons that I wanted, I erased the pencil line that I had drawn, and then I grabbed my watercolors. Now, this is a technique that I've seen a couple of people on YouTube do, where they use watercolor and rub-ons because watercolor, or the rub-ons resist the watercolor, so it sort of creates a resist. I've seen Wilna do this, Wilna Furstenberg. I've also seen Ajrit do this, and a couple of other people that I can't think of right now. But so what I'm using is I'm using my Peerless watercolors, which is like a concentrated watercolor pigment, and just using some water, and I'm wetting the area and then adding a little tiny bit of pigment to add some color. Now I decided to keep the watercolors that I'm using pretty simple, so I'm using like 2 pinks and a yellow color. And I'm not trying to be perfect about it. I want this side of the page to look very messy. Well, not messy, but very artistic and a little crazier than the other side of the page. And so that's why I'm using all of these watercolors and going with this design. This is really one of those pages where it's almost like therapeutic, the process for me. So I'm just gonna do whatever makes me happy on the page. And while it may be a little of a crazier page, it really it demonstrated how I was feeling in this photo. So While I'm just drawing that, I'll just tell you a little bit about the photo. I just showed it there a little bit. It's a photo of myself that was taken last year in March. And if you've been watching some of my videos, you know a little bit about me, that I was on tour with the African Children's Choir, and then I got back, um, and I really missed them. It was really hard. It was like you spend a year and a half with these kids, and you love them, and they're basically like your kids, and then you have to leave them, and it's really difficult. And when I came home, I didn't want to be at home. I wanted to be with the kids, and I was really struggling. And in March of last year, it was like the first time in like 3 or 4 months that I actually felt like myself again. But I still had a lot of emotions and things going on in my head. And so while I probably looked like completely fine on the outside, there was a lot going on inside. So I think this page sort of demonstrates that. I mean, in a strange way. The left hand side of the page is going to be like a little cleaner, and then the right hand side of the page is going to be the more mixed media side, and I guess the right hand side sort of shows what's going on in my head, if that makes any sense at all. Sorry if you're like, what are you talking about, Victoria? Or Tori. Sorry. If you didn't know that, my name is actually Victoria. And I talk about myself in the third person sometimes, which is so weird. And I probably shouldn't admit that to all the people watching this video. So you're going to have to forgive me. Oh dear. Okay, back to the layout. What am I doing? Well, I decided that I wanted some way to combine the left-hand side, which looked all sane and logical, and the right-hand side, which looked sort of crazy and chaotic and just mixed media all over it. I wanted some way to combine those two sides. And so I decided that a way that I could do that was with stencils and some modeling paste. And just put modeling paste like right over the crease and then on both sides of the page. So I grabbed my golden modeling paste, and I was going to use some masks or stencils, but then I saw these really pretty masks that I had from Martha Stewart. They're really old, and they're more like painting masks, so they don't work great with the mixed media products like gesso or modeling paste, but I mean, I pushed it through and made it work, and I do really like the effect. So I am putting it on pretty thick. Sorry, you can't really see it great here, but I put it on really thick, and I just lay it down and add the paste on top, and then I grab another stencil and do that, and I'm using a whole ton of them. So I've used some patterns and doily designs, and oh, that's why I bought this Martha Stewart stencil. Okay, I don't have a lot of Martha Stewart product. I don't know how I feel about her, but you know, whatever. But there was this stencil that had a doily on it, and I love doilies, so I had to get it. Of course, right? And that's why I'm using it. Now, this darker blue one, I think is a Recollections or something. I can't remember. It's from a while ago. So I won't be able to link it up for you. Sorry. But if you know where that dark navy blue one comes from, maybe you could leave a comment. I'm pretty sure I bought it at like Walmart or something like that. Although if it's Recollections, it's probably from Michael's. So, well, I don't know. I have no clue. So, sorry. So, okay. So here's what I've done is I put the modeling paste all over. I stopped the video so I could go clean those off. Then I grabbed some of my gold Mr. Huey's, and the gold actually looked really pretty. And this is that moment when I should have stopped. Like, oh, it looks good. I should have stopped. But the problem with me is I never know when to stop. So I thought, I'm going to grab another Mr. Huey's Mist and use that. And I thought, oh, it would be so cool to use this mini Mr. Huey's. It's called Sunkissed. It's like a burgundy color. And that happened. Ugh. Ugh. I was like, what did I do? How am I going to fix this? So then I'm like, well, maybe if I missed it more, it'll be better. Nope. Everything's downhill from there. So I decide I'll just cover up that weird spot with my photo so you can't see that. And that will work. Now what I'm doing is just using a baby wipe to wipe off where the rub-ons are, because they resist the Mr. Huey's mist as well. And this is when I sort of go to my stash and grab some papers that I like. I'm using this paper by Crate Paper. I believe it's from the Open Roads or something like that. I'm using this black font paper, and it's called On My Desk, and it's by Gossamer Blue. And I'm also going to be using that gold vellum that you see to the left there, and that is a specialty paper by Maggie Holmes' Open Book Collection. And it's like a vellum with a gold foil on it. It's so pretty. So I'm just layering those all up around my photo, and now I'm just tucking some other bits and bobs and ephemera underneath that, stapling some of those down. I'm also using my hot glue gun, and I decided I just wanted a very layered look around this, so I'm just sort of tucking anything that matches the scheme or the colors or what's going on. Now, I knew that I wanted the title of this page to be Bloom, so that when I saw this piece of ephemera with this black flower on it, I thought it would be perfect for what the title of the page was going to be. So I fussy cut it out, and I'm going to stick that just below the photo to the bottom right hand side. And I'm just seeing if there's any other random pieces that I want to put in there. I wanted to put some black in to help balance that black flower, so I grabbed a couple tabs and just stuck those under and stapled them. And now I'm going to do some more of the embellishment on the page. I'm going to be using some embellishments from the Odyssey kits, the scrapbook card or project life kit. And I'm also going to be grabbing some things from my stash. Now, the scrapbook kit, I believe, and the project life kit came with roller date stamps. Problem is I can never read upside down, so I was just stamping them on a scrap piece of paper to see what the words were. And then I used some black StazOn ink to just stamp those down. I'm going to add the date to this craft label sticker, and I'm just going to clip that to the top of my photo there. I also wanted to use one of these flares from the card kit, and it says Adventure, and I just sort of stuck that on the top of the photo and that craft label as well. Now, this page is pretty busy, but I love embellishments too, so I did want to use embellishments. One of the things that I find works really well if you want to embellish a page that's really busy is to go with embellishments that are in the same color family or in the same colors. So I use that flare, but it's also like pinks, and it matches the colors in the right hand side of the page. I also used a rubber banner, and it's yellow, but it works too because it's in the same color family. I added some vellum leaves, which are just subtle, but they have yellow and gold in them, so they also match what's going on. One of the things I was really struggling with when I was making this layout is my camera kept running out of battery. Not battery, it kept running out of space, so I had to keep cutting the video and then taking everything off and putting it on my computer and then going back. So it's going to skip ahead here in just a second. But all I had done when I hadn't been videoing, because I forgot that I was videoing, was I added some resin flowers that are yellow, and I also added some resin little tiny stars that came in the kits this month. Next I grabbed these chipboard hearts from Studio Calico. I received them as a gift from Studio Calico for getting one of the Thursday riddles right. Anyways, each week at Studio Calico on Thursdays at lunchtime there's a riddle, and if you get it right they send you a prize, which is really sweet. And I won these chipboard hearts. So I end up just sticking those all over that other side, just adding a little more gold to that section and adding some more dimension. And I just love those little chipboard hearts. They're so cute. And now I'm just going to look and see if there's anything else that I want to add, but I think I'm just going to move on to my title. and I decided to use these transparent letters. They're from a previous kit, but they also came with those chipboard hearts, and they were my gift for winning the riddle. And at first I thought my title would just be Bloom, but then I decided I wanted my title to be Bloom and Grow. It just meant something. So I grabbed those transparent letters and I'm going to use those. Now, there weren't enough O's, so I'm going to be using a 0, and I'm also going to be using a Q, which I just cut off the extra parts of the Q there. And Bloom will be at the top and Grow will be at the bottom. The ampersand or and sign that I used is just a black one from, from a, what's it called? Amy Tan, like, letters things. I'm just going to grab my pen and add the journaling at the bottom about how I was learning how to bloom and grow when I came back, and even though it was difficult. Anyways, that's it. The page is done. Thanks everyone for watching, for liking and subscribing. I'll have a couple extra photos for you, but other than that, it's done. Have a lovely day. Bye.